So Montreal Mayor Valerie Plante today, press conference down on Peel Street, meeting with some of the restaurant owners who were affected by Friday night's shutdown and promising them that they could reopen. So that's the good news today. But some of the things that we did not hear today still concern the events, even now, 6 days later, of what happened on Friday night. Montreal Mayor Valerie Plante is on the line. Madam Mayor, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Rand.
Let me start by asking, as I said, this is good news. It's wonderful to know that these restaurant owners can reopen their terraces and that the city is making accommodations for them. What I did not hear today is everything involved in what happened last Friday night. So, for example, who gave the order? How is the city not made aware? Did someone not tell you? This is also, Ville Marie, your borough. So you'd think if anybody knew, you would have been the first to know. None of that has been addressed. Why not?
Oh, well, to be very honest, I felt like that was addressed like earlier this week, especially when the firefighters, two people got suspended.
Yeah, but that was all we found
of,
out was two people got suspended and nothing else.
Well, because there is an internal inquiry, and that is important to find out like who was involved. And as for the borough of Ville Marie, which I'm the mayor, the permit was given. And then the terraces were built with the chapiteaux. I'm not sure how to say in English, like the little tent.
Yeah.
The roofs, yeah, exactly. Which is accommodation we made for Peel Street in the borough because there's a lot of construction sites. So we did say, okay, let's keep the little tent or roof. And then so the permits were given, and when it was built, then the firefighter came along and few days before the event said it's not exactly like it's not following the fire safety standards.
Understood, but I want to stop you for just a second.
What I want to say,
Okay.
Mr. Wren, is that from there, we wish the borough would have heard from the firefighters, because our job and what we do often, though we don't negotiate with safety, we could have been able to find a solution before that event of the firefighters arriving on Friday night and disturbing in a very abrupt way and unacceptable way, the people on the terrace.
But
so
with all due respect, Mayor,
Sure.
coulda, woulda, shoulda doesn't necessarily cut it here. I heard Alain Creton say today, explaining what happened, right? Because the idea, as I understand it, was first the city said it's okay. Then the fire department said, no, it's not, even though the city had said, yes, it is. He tried to reach someone in the city and talked about the fact he couldn't even get through to anybody because he said people were working from home. It was impossible to reach anybody. That's the city's responsibility. How did that happen?
So, to be honest, like I've had so many conversations with Monsieur Croton and with the Ferreira family as well. And to be honest, we've always been there. Like I've been there for 6 years, and something like that never happened before. Not to say that things cannot get better, but what I'm saying is that we've always had great conversation and connection with all the businesses, and especially with terraces, because it's something we believe in. And we've been taking a lot of heat in taking some of the parking spaces out to allow terraces to happen. So I don't want to minimize what Monsieur Croton said, but to be very fair and honest, like for us, everything was in order, but when the tent was built, maybe there was a mistake or something that didn't work out this way. And this is why today it took a little while, because it's not only reopening the terraces, is because I didn't want it to ask the Peel businesses to say, okay, let's redo the terraces. I didn't want it to waste time. So what we did, and I did share this with them first before announcing it publicly, is we're going to take some of the parking spaces out. And it's not going to make everybody happy, but I want the terraces with the tent being allowed, and following all the rules, because we cannot negotiate with safety, of course. So this is really how it went. And for me, my priority was to reopen those terraces today.
So I'm curious. So we talk a lot about obviously what happened Friday night. I went back and checked, and I think TVA reported that on Thursday there were 13 fines, $17,000 of fines handed out, and 2 restaurants closed. We're just hearing about that now because we've been focusing so much on Friday. Again, it would seem to me the first thing the city might want to do here, because the confusion seems to be between the city and the fire department, is to go to these merchants and say, you know what? We're sorry. I'm not sure I've heard you say we're sorry yet. And how about saying, you know what? There was a mistake, shouldn't have happened, and we're going to waive the fines. Why have you not done that?
So I feel like I did apologize right at the beginning. I was in the press conference on Sunday, and I'm not here to, like I said, I'm not here to be right. I'm here to find solutions. That's really what my job is all about. And that the communication problems between the two, this is why we've had our director of the city saying, like, this cannot happen anymore. And we want to take the lessons and what happened on Friday, so it doesn't happen anymore, not only on Peel, but in other places in Montreal. We want to improve the communication for sure because it needs to happen. That being said, around the fines, though the way it went on Friday was unacceptable, and I do apologize for sure, and I did say it before, for the way it happened. There were some, problems with the terraces themselves. But I'm not here to throw stones. I'm just here to say that though it's been working well in the last years, we need to build on that, make better communication so everybody follows the rules, and we don't penalize like those businesses that count on Formula One weekend.
Of course, everyone agrees with
make
that.
Good money.
No one is going to disagree with you on that. But I'm asking, why not just say, you know what, let's rip up the fines and call it a day? Can you not do that?
We're looking at all the different options for sure because
that's an easy first option, though, isn't it?
Everybody has a quick answer and a quick solution. I think we've demonstrated that when we take an issue and when we push it forward, we find solutions. Like I said, it could have been the solution today to say, let's rebuild the terraces. For me, it was not an option. I wanted to reopen them really fast. So we're taking other decisions. Some people will not agree with taking parking spaces out. We're taking the heat.
For the Madam Plante, because I know you don't have a lot of time. With respect to F1, we know it's not been a very good week for F1, or at least for the city anyway. My understanding now is Stefano Domenicali, who is the president of F1, has asked to meet you face-to-face in a meeting. Is that accurate?
So we did meet face-to-face on Sunday, Mr. Domenicali and myself, and we've met before, of course, and we agreed on Sunday that though he was a great addition on many fronts, there was many issues as well. Some we have control over, some less. But ultimately, on Sunday, we both decided to have a meeting quickly. Let's not wait a month. Let's find a solution now.
So you are going to meet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The meeting is next week, so I'm really happy we'll be able to work with Monsieur Domenicali, who's a great ally. He loves Montreal. And, we don't have power over the rain and the weather or Pitbull canceling his show, but I can agree that we can definitely work on the mobility, how the F1 crew gets better in and out of the site. All these things need to be fixed.
By the way, what did you think of the tourism minister, Caroline Proulx, calling this a major embarrassment? Ashamed of it.
Right. There's always there's an expression, or maybe it exists in English, not to throw the baby with the water or something like that. Of course, we were very upset with how things went on Friday with 4 terraces. But at the same time, I need to say that there was a lot of people a lot of businesses made a lot of money. There was, partying in the city, and there was a record attendance at the Grand Prix as well. So for me, is how do we make things better? And we've shown in the past how important Formula One is for our administration and the efforts we put in, and things that needs to be fixed will be fixed and quickly.
Final question. I'm seeing, as I said today, the head of F1 apologizing to his own drivers and teams over what happened in Montreal. Should Montrealers, in your opinion, be worried about losing the Grand Prix?
I would say no, where, it's quite an asset for the Grand Prix to have the Formula One. Of course, there's more challenges than doing a race in the desert in Dubai or something like that. Of course. But it's a great carte postale, postal card for them, and it's a really well recognized. This weekend was, I have to say, the race was amazing. There was a lot of challenges because of the weather. Maybe that was the only good thing about having some rain. But it's just good for Formula One. The only Grand Prix in Canada is here. Our administration has invested a lot of money in the new paddock, though there's little challenges with that as well. But I think it's been a great relationship, but the concerns needs to be addressed. And for me, this is what I want to move on very quickly. So it gives us a year starting next week to find those solutions with the promoter and, the SAM and the police officers and everybody.
Madam Mayor, I know you have to go. I hope you'll reconsider and say, you know what, let's rip up those tickets that were handed out, but we'll see where that goes.
I promise that it's in the mix, but right now my priority was really to reopen those terraces. But I'm not saying no, I swear.
Montreal Mayor Valerie Plante, as always, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too. 3:43, so there you go. Again, I don't, frankly, and again, I'm not in government. Maybe I'm missing something here. I don't understand how hard a thing that would be to do. You hand out a fine, which never should have been handed out in the first place because you told people there, no, it's okay. and then you're not going to rip up the ticket? Why? Do we need a public inquiry to rip up a fine handed out by the fire inspectors? Again, I don't understand it. And I will point out, and I think it's important, we've been focused on Friday night, $6,600 in fines handed out. The night before that, the day before that, $17,000 in fines and 2 restaurants shut down. I don't know how you can make an excuse to say, well, it shouldn't have happened, but it did. And again, this idea, and I realize it's easy to say as the mayor, well, we're going to have a public inquiry, a postmortem, call it whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm guessing now 6 days later, they know who's at least responsible here. Someone has a boss and someone told these inspectors to go down and hand out tickets. Who is that person or persons who made that call? Someone has to know. Why do we have to wait for this inquiry to figure all this out? I don't get that part.